So much for third time's the charm. Hi, my name is Ryan Lang, and welcome to my review channel. So for today's movie, I will be reviewing The Equalizer 3, directed by Antoine Fuqua and starring Denzel Washington and Dakota Fanning. So, after going full Doomslayer on a mafia owned Sicilian winery, Robert McCollum, played once again by Denzel Washington, finds himself pretty seriously injured and in some desperate need of medical attention. And so he finds refuge in Altamonte, an Italian coastal town where he befriends the friendly and helpful Italian Dr. Enzo, played by Remo Gironi, and he strikes up friendships with other members of the town. Unfortunately, these friendships are put to the test when the town is terrorized by mafia thugs, specifically brothers Marco and Vincent, played by Andrea Dodder and Andrea Scarduzio, respectively. This is all in hopes to further the mafia's local business dealings, and so Robert McCollum must take up creative weapons and his trusty stopwatch in order to put down the mafia thugs. So yeah, this film is a pretty weak third entry for the franchise. Let's start off with the writing. The writing is cliched and even dull. And how shall I put this? The film follows the formula of the prior films very closely. Like, tell me if you heard this before. So Robert travels to new community. He strikes up friendships with people in said community. Members of the mafia, typically from an Eastern European country, terrorize said local community. And so Robert takes up arms to fight them, and it all ends in a climax where he brutally murders the leader. Oh, and also toss in a liaison with a CIA agent just for good measure. The supporting characters, while hardly cardboard cutouts in nature, they aren't given enough characterization for the audience to appreciate as much as Robert clearly appreciates them. The villains, again, they aren't terrible, and they're hardly cardboard cutouts, and they do even get a few funny moments, but they're otherwise unmemorable compared to the first villain from the first entry in the series. Also, as for why Robert is in Italy in the first place, well, you're going to have to wait till pretty much the end of the movie. And by the time you figure out why, you won't really care, because the explanation feels more like an afterthought to explain why the film producers just wanted to seek out, tax credits in Italy rather than like a plot point that recontextualizes the events of the movie. Also, the pacing. Like, this series has not been very well known for having good pacing, but this third entry takes the cake. Like, much of the first act just consists of watching Robert limp around on a cane, recovering throughout Italy. It's well photographed, and he acts it well enough, but by God, it's like, movie, do something! It's like Robert is essentially just waiting for the plot to happen practically for much of the first act, and it's not until relatively deep into the second act that it feels like the film finally finds its stride. Also, the Robert's character arc, it just feels like a repeat of the first film's character arc, but this time in Italy as opposed to Boston. So the performances are all right. Denzel Washington is as reliable as always as Robert McCollum, the retired CIA Black Ops agent, and the citizens of the town, while not well written, they do add some necessary charm to the movie. And again, like I said, the Mafia Dons, they do get some interesting moments, but they're otherwise unmemorable in nature. I would say that the only true weak link in the movie is Dakota Fanning as the CIA agent, of whom you'll be able to guess how she fits into the movie pretty much her first scene if you've kept up with the other films in the Equalizer series. Yeah, and as I said, Dakota Fanning, her line delivery is flat in every scene. She doesn't add much personality to the character, and she is outacted in every time she shares a scene with Denzel Washington. The action scenes are also a downgrade for the series. The action scenes lack the style and creativity of the prior films, and in its place is just cheap gore. And for a series known for some pretty creative endgame battles, the first one had a fun Home Alone style sequence in a sort of pseudo Home Depot warehouse. The second one had a fun hurricane inspired uh, action set piece with Pedro Pascal with a sniper rifle. That was fun. The third one, I don't know, there's no interesting hook to it. And just, it's also let down by the fact that Robert McCollum has essentially become God. Like, with the exception of the film's opening scenes, he takes zero damage throughout the entire movie. He's practically God at this point in the movie. And I don't and I mean, you'll practically know that because this film is so heavy handed with its religious imagery. It just gets very boring very quickly. He's practically Rambo in the sense that his character has just gotten increasingly less interesting as the films has gone on. The cinematography is pretty decent. Again, with the exception of one annoying fake one take that was, digitally stitched together. The film has some nice cinematography. It uses long, wide, unbroken takes to beautifully capture the on-set location scenery. And the score does infuse the film with some much needed energy and vigor at times. So, though Denzel Washington is a reliable screen presence as always, the Equalizer 3 unfortunately succumbs to diminishing marginal returns. And so, with all that in mind, I will be giving the Equalizer 3 2 out of 5 stars. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. If you like this review and would like to see more like it, be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. And for today's comment section prompt of the day, what is your favorite Equalizer movie and why?